Downpours drenching the Bay Area. The windshield wipers getting a workout. Tonight we're tracking our first big storm of the season.
You've got to be concerned about safety anyway.
More police on the street ahead of Dreamforce, but do we also need the National Guard? How the CEO of Salesforce appears to be changing his call. Bay Area Jewish and Palestinian leaders weigh in on the peace plan that released hostages and stopped the fighting in Gaza.
In many respects, the end of this conflict is the sign of the victory of democracies and democratic ideals.
And a celebration of lowrider culture after decades of persecution.
Every arrest, every beating I got was worth it, because there ain't nothing like having the freedom to be able to cruise down Mission Street.
Meet a Bay Area man who fought for the right to ride in style.
This is CBS News Bay Area with Juliette Goodrich.
And good evening. Well, here you have it. Here's a look at the live radar right now as the first big storm of the season sweeps through the Bay Area. In fact, a flood advisory is in effect in some spots at this hour. This is the most rain we've seen here in months, enough to effectively end our fire season. Downpours in Benicia. They caused some flooding on the roadways. In fact, our photographer spotted cars just driving through at least 2 feet of rushing water. This is on the 1st Street near Safeway. We also saw city crews trying to clear storm drainage. All right, now we take you to the East Bay. Look at this. All right, students, get ready with your umbrellas. Here's a look at UC Berkeley. Lots of them huddled under their umbrellas on campus this afternoon. My daughter, probably one of them. And the rain also came down hard today in San Francisco, just in time for the evening commute. Be careful out there. The CHP also reminds drivers to be careful on the roads when it rains, and here is why. A car rolled over into a ditch in Santa Rosa this afternoon. Officers said the driver was okay, thankfully. All right, the Chief Meteorologist Paul Hagan here to tell us how long this rain will stick around. I was in a sea of green.
You are. We can turn it back on, actually, for you right now.
Let's take a look at this.
There's the rain that continues to push farther and farther east, so we're starting to see a few little breaks in the action here and there.
All right.
That's going to be the case as we head through the rest of tonight, with the heaviest rain progressing farther and farther to the east. But this little break that's in effect along the coast, then you go farther out to the west, and there are more showers developing out over the Pacific. So we're not necessarily going to put an end to the rain just yet, but the heaviest rain is going to progress farther and farther east as we head through the rest of tonight. Now, we do have numerous flood advisories that are in effect. Those are outlined in green. These are urban and small stream flood advisories. That's different from a flash flood warning. Flash flood warnings are worse. It means that the weather's becoming life-threatening. This is at least inconvenient. You have to watch for standing water on the sides of some roads. That's going to be a concern as long as this heaviest rain continues to fall. Futurecast shows that pushing farther off to the east, but more often on showers are going to be with us through tonight and through most of tomorrow. Not going to rain everywhere all the time tomorrow. See everything kind of pinwheeling around us as the heart of the storm system is going to be tracking pretty much directly over the Bay Area, but we do have more rain in store for us. So far, we've seen a number of reports of localized flooding, just turning on all of the flood reports from across the entire region. You can see there have been a couple dozen of those reported so far. Rainfall totals as of 5 p.m. We get the update about 15 minutes past the hour. Big winner, no surprise. Ben Lomond, over an inch of rain so far, but getting close to that number for parts of the North Bay, and over a half inch of rain. In fact, over 2/3 of an inch of rain has added up already in San Francisco. And we're going to add up more on top of this as we head through the rest of tonight and into tomorrow. We'll take a look ahead at the drier part of the forecast in just a few minutes.
Paul, thank you. A pair of tech billionaires, they are sounding off on how to tackle crime in San Francisco. For a time, both Salesforce CEO Mark Benioff and Tesla's Elon Musk were urging President Trump to send in the National Guard. But now, a change of heart for Benioff, just as his Salesforce conference opens in the city. Our Brad Hamilton is now live in San Francisco with the latest on the conference that has some controversy with it as well. Hi, Brad.
Yes, Benioff's comments sparked plenty of reaction, and whether leaders like the mayor or people coming here to Dreamforce, folks had something to say. It took an 11-hour flight for Anna Foster to attend Dreamforce 2025.
So I come from just outside of London, about 20 miles west of London.
She hadn't heard much about the controversy surrounding the AI conference back at her home in the UK, but she's learned plenty since arriving to San Francisco. However, she remains steadfast on her decision to be here.
Well, I think any big city in the US or anywhere in the world, you've got to be concerned about safety anyway and just be streetwise. So I wasn't giving it any undue sort of concern.
The talk surrounding safety at Dreamforce started last week when Salesforce CEO Mark Benioff told the New York Times that President Trump should send in the National Guard to fight crime in San Francisco. Over the weekend, fellow tech billionaire Elon Musk jumped in to second the idea of federal intervention. But Mayor Daniel Lurie pushed back.
Crime is down 30% citywide. SFPD, our sheriff's department, is doing an incredible job. We're going to keep people safe during Salesforce and Dreamforce this week, and we're going to keep people safe 365 days a year.
On Sunday, Benioff appeared to backtrack on sending the National Guard in, emphasizing the need to continue to support Mayor Daniel Lurie's efforts to create a safer city. And there are people who see both sides of this story.
I love San Francisco. I'm a native San Franciscan. I was also homeless and addicted to drugs on the streets in San Francisco.
Tom Wolfe is a San Francisco recovery advocate who's against the idea of troops coming in, but for anything else the government can do to help his hometown.
I think Benioff calling for federal troops is one extreme. This kind of more radicalized harm reduction we've been doing is the other extreme, and the solution seems to be in the middle, and that means pulling in all kinds of resources, including federal resources, to help us mitigate this problem and help San Francisco make a full recovery.
Benioff's concerns regarding the safety of his Dreamforce convention aren't new. Just 2 years ago, he publicly threatened to pull the conference in future years for the same reason. But as Dreamforce gets set to open, there's an increased police presence. And for attendees like Anna, that's what matters.
As a woman walking on my own, I just watch my back.
And she wouldn't have come here if it wasn't that way.
I came 10 years ago, and I wouldn't say that I've noticed much of a change.
All right, so earlier today, Benioff and the mayor were actually supposed to host a joint press conference. This was to announce a big donation, $100 million to the UCSF Children's Hospital that bears Benioff's name. Now, we are told that that was canceled due to the rain and possibly, left a less awkward moment between the mayor and Benioff there, just Mother Nature playing its own role.
Well, thank you for showing up in the rain. All right, Brad, appreciate it. All right, Benioff's comments surprised many people, and they certainly, they've been generous towards San Francisco, in fact. According to Salesforce, his gift today brings his and his company's lifetime contribution to more than $1 billion. All right, let's get to developing news in the Middle East. The released Israeli hostages are back home with their families after more than 2 years in Hamas captivity. President Trump helped broker the peace plan. He received a standing ovation at Israel's parliament and called the moment the historic dawn of the new Middle East. As part of the deal, the fighting in Gaza has stopped and nearly 2,000 Palestinian prisoners will return to the West Bank and Gaza. There are still some hurdles ahead, including who will govern Gaza and disarming Hamas. So this sense of celebration is being felt right here in the Bay Area. Kelsey Thord got reaction from local leaders in the East Bay who say this is just the start.
Reaction continues to pour in as the peace plan between Israel and Hamas enters a hopeful first step. Here in the Bay, local Jewish and Palestinian leaders are also weighing in.
After 738 days of waiting, that we are overjoyed to see the scenes of unification between the hostages who managed to survive and their families.
Our community here in the United States join with the Palestinians in celebration that they finally have relief from this relentless Israeli genocide that they have endured for the last 2 years.
Seth Brisk is the regional director for AJC, the American Jewish Committee. He says they are, of course, ecstatic that the remaining living Israeli hostages were returned, but also still want all the hostages who died in captivity to be given back.
We hope that those families do have that measure of comfort that they can gain from reuniting with their loved ones, even in death.
Mohammed Sheikh is the organizing director of the Arab Resource and Organizing Center. He told me they are happy close to 2,000 Palestinian prisoners were released by Israel in exchange for the hostages. but still have concerns about how they were released.
Unfortunately, some of those Palestinians have been freed from prisons but then exiled. So they haven't even been given a chance to be reunited with their families.
Ever since the October 7th attack 2 years ago, activists on both sides of this conflict have mobilized here in the Bay. Pro-Palestinian protesters took to the streets, at one point even shutting down the Bay Bridge. Jewish leaders have advocated for more protections from the government as acts of anti-Semitism spiked. Now that a peace plan has taken effect, both sides hope the tension can simmer down. While they both still have different ideas about how this conflict should fully resolve, they both acknowledge this peace plan is just the beginning.
It is an opening for us to continue to advance the demands for an end to U.S. military aid, for Palestinians to have dignity, to have self-determination, to have rights like everyone else.
In many respects, the end of this conflict is the sign of the victory of democracies and democratic ideals over those of repression and terrorism. And again, we are hopeful that this will be the potential starting point for renewed negotiations and expanding the peace process.
Next, a looming strike is expected to impact Kaiser hospitals tomorrow. Where negotiations stand and what patients need to know. Alex, behind the wheel there, driving in the rain. Thanks so much. Okay, red light cameras are now up and running at 4 of San Jose's most dangerous intersections. Today, drivers are starting to get warnings for running through those red lights. So the grace period will last for at least 60 days. Tickets will start rolling out in December. It's all part of the city's effort to cut down on deadly crashes. The city council says they will evaluate the program after 1 year. Thousands of Kaiser workers, including registered nurses, are preparing to go on strike tomorrow, and it could last up to 5 days at more than 20 hospitals across the state. Medical offices will still be open, but elective surgeries and non-urgent appointments could be impacted. It is part of the issue, and also the biggest issue, pay. Kaiser says it's offered a 21.5% pay raise over 4 years. The union is demanding 25%. So last week, labor groups accused Kaiser of being unwilling to cooperate. In a statement today, Kaiser said it already has a generous offer on the table. Kaiser went on to say that the union's demands are out of step with today's economic realities and rising health care costs. So just last week, the healthcare provider announced it's cutting nearly 200 jobs in the Bay Area. That's expected to impact IT and food service positions in Oakland, Pleasanton, San Leandro, and Redwood City. We are celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month here at CBS News Bay Area, and tonight we're shining a light on lowrider culture. We're going to take you to the heart of San Francisco's Mission District, where the movement, once considered criminal, is now celebrated as a symbol of culture and pride and resilience. At the wheel is Roberto Hernandez, a man some call the mayor of the Mission. Len Ramirez takes us for a ride through time and also transformation.
It starts with the rumble of a classic engine. And behind the wheel, Roberto Hernandez, a lowrider, a community leader, a Mission legend.
When I first saw a lowrider, I was like, my neck hurted because I think I wanted to run down the street and get in it, you know?
Roberto grew up just blocks from here and worked in an auto repair shop with his grandfather and uncles, fixing engines and building dreams, but nothing hit him like riding low and slow.
It's in my DNA, you know? But for me, lowriding is an art form, and it's our art form as Latinos and as Chicanos.
But the city didn't see culture, they saw a threat.
The police at one point just wasn't having it anymore, and they started giving us tickets.
He was racially profiled by police, pulled over again and again.
They started telling us and warning us to get off Mission Street, stop cruising. And I say, why? Why can't I cruise? You know, and I was very vocal about it. And I got beat up several times for that. And then eventually I got arrested 113 times for cruising down Mission Street because I just kept saying, hey, you're violating my civil rights.
Roberto began fighting back, not with violence, but with knowledge. He sued the city of San Francisco and won a landmark case that helped put an end to discriminatory traffic enforcement and help reshape the city's treatment of lowrider culture.
Every arrest, every beating I got was worth it, because there ain't nothing like having the freedom to be able to cruise down Mission Street.
From victory came responsibility. He helped found the San Francisco Lowrider Council and later the Mission Food Hub, which delivered thousands of meals during the pandemic.
Hey. Orale.
Now, as we roll down Mission Street, it's clear this city has changed its tune.
I've been invited and have participated in the cultural training of police officers in the academy, which I would have never imagined that would have happened, right?
They call him the mayor of the Mission, and lowriders, once outlawed, are now invited, featured in city parades, honored as cultural ambassadors.
I really believe that's change makes a difference.
From defiance to dignity, Roberto Hernandez didn't just build lowriders, he built a movement.
And be sure to watch our Hispanic Heritage Month special. It's airing this Thursday at 7:30 p.m. on KPIX, and it'll be hosted by Len and Gianna Franco.
It is a soggy Monday evening across the Bay Area. The heaviest rain continues to fall, especially down the peninsula. Another batch of heavier downpours making their way onshore, but this is going to get pushed farther off to the east. We'll track the leftover showers tomorrow and add up how much additional rain we expect coming up in the First Alert forecast.
All right, in the Sierra, we're seeing the first snowstorm of the fall. So this is Highway 80 at Castle Peak. Roads are wet, as you can see. You can see a little bit of snow on the shoulder. Not a lot, but it looks slick out there, so be careful. Paul Hagan joining us now with more on we are in First Alert weather with the rain.
we are. We still have the camera up there too. Yeah, we got rain, we got snow, we got wind, a little bit of wind damage here and there with some branches coming down. But the heaviest rain is either falling right now or has already moved off to the east. So kind of back into off and on showers as we head through tonight and tomorrow. Let's take a look at what's happening out there right now on First Alert Doppler. In the loop over the last hour shows that heaviest, steadiest rain gradually making more progress to the east. There's another batch of heavy rains making its way onshore in San Mateo County. So down the peninsula, you're going to get some heavier downpours here. And of course, a lot of that gets squeezed out in higher elevations. We have seen over an inch of rain total so far around Ben Lomond. These rain showers are going to continue moving to the east, though. A little break in the action offshore. That's not going to last forever. Let's switch over to Futurecast, and we'll take a look at how things are going to evolve as we head through the rest of tonight. There goes the heaviest rain, but then everything kind of pinwheels around us as the heart of the storm system is going to be tracking almost directly overhead. So everything rotates counterclockwise around that. Some additional showers, especially for the North Bay, according to this forecast model, by early tomorrow morning. I would plan on a longer than normal morning commute, hopefully not as challenging as the evening commute has been today. As we head through the rest of the day tomorrow, though, the showers gradually become a little fewer and farther between. Can't rule out the possibility of enough juice in the atmosphere to result in a couple rumbles of thunder, but the rain is going to move off to the east tomorrow night, and we're going to start to dry out on Wednesday. Maybe a leftover sprinkle early in the day Wednesday, but in general, we are going to see things coming to an end as the sun comes up on Wednesday morning, adding up basically an entire October's worth of rain just with this one storm system. Let's check out the rainfall totals that we expect on top of what has already fallen. And again, this is forecast model data. It's never perfect, but it gives us an idea of what to expect. For the North Bay, it's trying to add up anywhere from another 1/10 of an inch of rain to where the rain is continuing to fall at a good clip right now, over 1/2 inch of additional rainfall falling on top of already saturated ground. So some localized flooding concerns are going to be something we continue to monitor. It's those urban and small stream flood advisories that are in effect, which means no widespread flooding, but flood prone spots. You know, the intersections usually run into that tend to collect water or any drains that are blocked by just stuff that has added up over the last 6 months. That's where we're going to see some issues. Farther to the south, around Monterey and Salinas, they're going to add up another ½ inch of rain. And in the mountains, they're going to add up another about 4 to 12 inches of additional snowfall. Snow level dropping down to about 6,500 feet as we head through the rest of tonight. But challenging travel conditions later tonight on both US 50 and I-80. Seeing a little bit of sunshine, enough for a rainbow in the distance as we look out from the Mark Hopkins Hotel. Temperatures are chilly across the entire Bay Area. It is only in the low to mid 50s for current temperatures. Now, those numbers aren't going to change a whole lot as we head through the rest of tonight. High temperatures tomorrow, though, are going to be well below average once again. Another cool day, not quite as breezy as some of the conditions that we had today, but still high temperatures area-wide, only getting up into the low to mid-60s. Not much variation. Doesn't matter if you're in the Santa Clara Valley, around the Bay, or at the coast. Pretty much everybody is going to be between 60 and 65 degrees for high temperatures tomorrow, which means those inland spots are going to be a good 10 to 15 degrees below what's normal for the middle of October. But we do steadily warm up. In fact, inland, you're going to climb into the 70s and even one day on Saturday above 80 degrees for some of the warmest spots inland. That sounds warm compared to where we are right now. I mean, it's 30 degrees warmer than we are right now, but it's actually back closer to what's average for this time of year. Then we cool down a little bit Sunday and Monday. Some of the forecast models are hinting at maybe a chance of a shower trying to head our way Sunday. Don't think that's very likely. Temperatures are going to gradually warm up for everybody across the Bay Area, even the coast. I think you're going to see a noticeable warm up as we hit the end of the work week and head into the upcoming weekend. Jules?
All right, Paul, thanks. Well, the air shows might be over, but Fleet Week is still making some noise. Which high school came out on top in this year's band challenge? The best high school marching bands of the Bay battled for big money and bragging rights. Fleet Week capped off today with the High School Band Challenge at the Golden Gate Park Band Show. And returning champions, Pittsburgh High. They took on San Francisco's Burton High and Morgan Hills and Sobrato High. And while the challengers didn't make it easy, Pittsburgh came out on top once again. They claimed the $10,000 prize and the title of Best Band in the Bay Area. Congratulations to them and all the bands. CBS Evening News is next on KPIX. Local news continues streaming. We'll see you right at 7 o'clock with more local news. Ooh, look at that.